Did you know that shellfish aren't actually fish? They are a variety of mollusks and crustaceans. This broad term, shellfish, encompasses two main categories. First, we have crustaceans, which include familiar faces like crabs and lobsters. Then there are the mollusks, a group that houses clams, oysters, and more. It's a common misconception that shellfish are fish, but as you can see, they're quite a diverse bunch. Now that we've cleared up that common misconception, let's dive into the fascinating world of shellfish. When it comes to shellfish, freshness is not just a matter of taste, it's a matter of safety. You see, shellfish such as oysters, mussels, clams, and scallops are a culinary delight for many, but they carry an inherent risk if not handled, stored, or cooked properly. Let's talk about the potential health risks associated with consuming spoiled shellfish. The primary concern is food poisoning, which can lead to unpleasant symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramps, and in severe cases, even hospitalization. The culprits behind these symptoms are harmful bacteria and viruses that thrive in spoiled shellfish. But why do shellfish spoil so quickly? The answer lies in their composition and environment. Shellfish are rich in proteins, which are a favorite food for microbes. When these proteins break down, they release ammonia, a chemical that gives off that telltale smell of spoiling seafood. Additionally, shellfish live in a moist environment, which further accelerates their spoilage. Moist conditions are a breeding ground for bacteria, and when combined with the high protein content, this creates an environment that's conducive for the rapid growth of microbes, leading to a quicker spoilage rate compared to other types of food. So, how do you avoid the pitfalls of spoiled shellfish and ensure you are consuming a safe and tasty product? It all boils down to one key principle: freshness. Fresh shellfish will have a mild, pleasant ocean-like scent, their shells will be tightly closed or will snap shut when tapped, and their flesh will be plump and moist. Any deviation from these characteristics is a red flag indicating potential spoilage. In summary, the freshness of shellfish is paramount not just for the enjoyment of their unique flavors, but also for your health and safety. By understanding why shellfish spoil quickly and knowing how to recognize the signs of freshness, you can confidently enjoy these delicious sea delicacies. Therefore, it's crucial to know how to determine the freshness of shellfish before consuming them. Determining the freshness of shellfish is an art that you can master with a few simple steps. And like any art form, it requires patience, attention to detail, and a keen sense of observation. Now, let's dive straight into the heart of the matter. The first factor to assess is the smell. This might seem a bit odd, but trust me, your nose knows. Fresh shellfish should have a mild, pleasant aroma that reminds you of the ocean. It's a clean, salty scent that brings to mind images of waves crashing against the shore. If the shellfish has a strong, off-putting smell, that's a clear sign that it's past its prime. And if it smells like ammonia, well, that's a definite no-go. Ammonia is a telltale sign that bacteria have started breaking down the shellfish, and you certainly don't want that on your plate. Next, let's talk about color. Color is another important visual cue that can tell you a lot about the freshness of shellfish. When fresh, shellfish have a vibrant, healthy color. Oysters, for example, should have a glossy, grayish-white appearance, while the flesh of clams and mussels should be a rich, creamy beige. If the color seems dull or discolored, it's best to steer clear. Now, on to texture. Fresh shellfish should have a firm, yet supple texture. If you gently press the flesh, it should spring back. If it feels mushy or slimy, that's a warning sign. Similarly, if the shellfish is too tough or rubbery, it could mean that it's old. Another thing to look out for is the shell. For bivalves like clams, mussels, or oysters, the shells should be tightly closed. If they're open, give them a quick tap. If they close up, they're still alive and good to eat. If they remain open, it's time to say goodbye. Lastly, let's not forget about the sounds. Yes, you heard that right. Fresh shellfish, especially crustaceans like crabs and lobsters, will make a certain noise when handled. It's a kind of squeaking sound. This sound is produced when the shellfish moves its exoskeleton, and it's a good indication of freshness. By paying attention to these factors, you can ensure that you're consuming fresh and safe shellfish. Remember, it's not just about the taste, it's also about your health. So, take the time to inspect your shellfish before you cook them. After all, you wouldn't want to compromise on quality when you're about to prepare a delicious seafood feast, would you? Seafood, particularly shellfish, isn't enjoyed universally. In fact, certain cultures have taboos or restrictions when it comes to consuming these sea creatures. This might seem peculiar to those of us who view seafood as a delicacy, but it's worth exploring these cultural nuances to gain a broader understanding of our shared global food culture. Let's start with Judaism, one of the oldest religions in the world, which has a set of dietary laws known as kashrut. According to these laws, shellfish, including crabs, lobsters, oysters, and shrimp, are considered non-kosher and are therefore not consumed by observant Jews. The reasoning behind this prohibition is rooted in religious texts and is a key element of Jewish dietary customs. Now let's travel from the Middle East to the Far East. In Japan, there's a particular fish known as the pufferfish or fugu that's considered a delicacy. However, it's not something you'd find on the menu at your local sushi bar. This is because fugu contains a potent neurotoxin, and if not prepared correctly, it can be deadly. Despite this risk, it's a sought-after dish in Japan, but only licensed chefs are allowed to prepare it, highlighting the cultural limitations and the extreme care taken with certain types of seafood in Japanese cuisine. In the Pacific Islands, cultural beliefs and taboos related to seafood are often tied to the natural environment and the ocean's resources. For instance, in some cultures it's believed that consuming certain types of shellfish can bring bad luck or ill health. In other cases, particular species of fish or shellfish are considered sacred or are associated with specific clans or tribes, and eating them is a cultural taboo. These beliefs highlight the deep connection between these island cultures and the sea, and the respect they have for its resources. In contrast, certain sects of Buddhism, particularly those following a vegetarian or vegan diet, avoid all types of seafood. This is not due to any specific taboo against seafood, but rather a commitment to non-violence and a belief in the sanctity of all life. This highlights how religious beliefs can influence dietary habits and cultural attitudes towards different types of food, including seafood. Finally, let's look at the Arctic Inuit peoples who traditionally rely heavily on the sea for sustenance. However, even among these communities, certain taboos exist, often related to the preparation and sharing of seafood. For instance, some believe that if a seal is not shared properly among community members, it can cause the sea to become dangerous. So, as you can see, cultural taboos and limitations related to seafood are as diverse as the cultures themselves. They offer fascinating insights into the complex relationship humans have with the sea and its resources shaped by geography, religion, and cultural beliefs. So, before you serve shellfish at your next dinner party, it's worth considering these cultural sensitivities. Shellfish are a delicacy enjoyed by many, but their freshness and cultural considerations can't be ignored. As we wrap up our deep dive into the fascinating world of shellfish, let's revisit the essential points we've covered. We've learned the paramount importance of freshness when it comes to shellfish. Freshness is not merely a matter of taste, but of health and safety. From observing the creature's behavior to checking its smell and appearance, we've explored the various ways to determine the freshness of shellfish. Additionally, we've delved into the cultural taboos and limitations related to seafood. From religious restrictions to environmental considerations, the world of seafood is filled with complexities that go beyond the dinner table. We've seen how understanding cultural nuances can enhance our enjoyment and respect for this cherished food source. Now that you're armed with this knowledge, it's time to put it to the test. Try to gauge the freshness of shellfish yourself and take into account any cultural considerations that might apply. Your seafood experience will be all the richer for it. But our journey doesn't end here. There's a sea of information waiting to be explored in our playlist. So if you've enjoyed this video and would like to dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video with others who might find it helpful. We'd also love to hear your thoughts, so please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.